I'm,
I got Mark.
She's done a lot of traveling.
oh, he's,
Yeah, she
You
has.
can call it to order.
okay, so I'm going to call to order the meeting, the Westford Conservation Commission on Wednesday, March 27th, 2024. Please be advised that this open meeting may be broadcast live via Westford Cable Access TV and recorded for playback online. Attendees are reminded that by attending this meeting, you consent to your likeness and audio being used and rebroadcast by Westford Cable Access TV. The first item on the agenda is open forum. Right now, we're in the process of having somebody, a member of the commission, join the meeting.
I am.
Hello.
You're-
I'm good.
Yeah, the meeting, we just called the meeting to order.
Okay.
So for open forum, the first thing is because one of the commission members is attending remotely, all votes will be by roll call. Do any members of the commission have something for open forum? Matt, do you have anything?
Just a general announcement that the annual town meeting has been rescheduled for April 27th. And to find information on the town's website. Additionally, the Department of Public Works and the Engineering Department are starting their sidewalk projects, one being Carlisle Road, which a notice of intent was issued for. That additionally, their culvert replacements on Pond Brook and Blue Brook are scheduled to take place this summer. And I'd recommend keeping an eye on the engineering department's or the Public Works Facebook page for road closures and announcements of the sort. Additionally, the Department of Public Works sidewalk project on Plain Road, Margaret and I met with the engineering department last
Thursday.
Thursday, to kind of map the sidewalk through Grassy Pond, through the portion of Grassy Pond right off Plain Road. Some trees will have to be removed, but overall, I think we did a really good job of kind of weaving through the trees to, complete the connection from Nutting Road down to the Grassy Pond parking lot.
Okay.
Do any members of the audience have something they'd like to bring up in open forum? No? Okay. Moving on to our next agenda item, it's continue the public hearing and issue order of conditions for the Eagle Scout Lakota Lakeside Meadows open space. You.
Yeah.
And for the record, you are?
Nicholas Lakuda.
Okay.
So this, once I pull it up, the draft special conditions were prepared, provided to the applicant, and upon some further comments by the chair, some additional, added some additional language, particularly with the project description and an additional finding. There was some language changes regarding number 30 and 31, and additionally with respect to the certificate of compliance, as the project may be taken or may be continued by the homeowners association, added language about a partial certificate of compliance for Nicholas's portion of the project, and then if it wants to continue on, If there are other comments, more than happy to,
Does Nicholas have a copy of this?
yes, I did provide this to you.
Jim?
Did the homeowners association sign on to the NOI as an applicant?
Yes.
As an applicant, not just to have acknowledgement from the
Yeah,
scout.
they were they signed as the property owner.
They're the property owner, but as the applicant that's doing the project. I thought it was just the scout that was doing the project.
So I
I'm
think,
concerned is that they didn't really participate in the give and take, the discussion about the aspects of the design. And they're gonna be expected to follow it, and then, if they want to, at any time in the next, 3 years, or something like that. It seems a little bit,
Well,
after the fact that we're adding that in. Like, in fact, the version that Matt had sent out with our meeting packet didn't imply that there was
So-
gonna be any automatic
so,
inclusion.
as shown on the DEP form, yes, they signed as the applicant. Nicholas was the representative.
Who is that? Who's
One of the trustees.
Green.
Brian Green?
Brian Green?
Yeah,
I
Brian.
do need to know who the person is, because that's one of the
Right,
conditions.
I mean,
I think he was here last time.
Yeah, because Nicholas, in the early phases before filing, Nicholas came and presented the project, and I think at that point, members of the homeowners association were with you, so that they had been,
I remember they
They
all,
spoke.
they
Somebody
acknowledged
spoke,
the
is that
project,
right?
and said, yes, they agree with it and all that. I just didn't know that they were gonna, kind of reserving a right to jump in at the end of
They'd
his
come before
project
us
and
if they're
continue
doing
with their own.
well, and Jim, to your concern, it occurred to me that with the findings that talk about the property owner may extend the boardwalk, is if we add another,
Are there distances associated with that? Because we have a plan here that says how long the boardwalk will be, not how long it might be.
I mean, so all the work after the Eagle Scout project will be further going away from the wetland resources.
How do we know that? There's no plan for it or anything, right?
I mean,
because there's a bridge over the stream, and then you've got the boardwalk on either side. The only place to put boardwalks
To
is
go
farther
away.
away from the stream.
All right? But the reason they're doing this is because there's been changing conditions, right?
Yes.
Where there's water, where there didn't used to be marsh, where there didn't used to be mud, where there didn't used to be. In 3 or 4 years, we don't know what's gonna be.
They could extend it more towards the beach, which is up against the water line.
Could we set it up so that if anytime they would at
Yeah,
least come
but it's
before us
gotta
and
be,
tell us what
it's
they
gotta
want to
be
do?
extended along the public trail easement, not right next to the beach. So it's gotta, where they're putting the boardwalk is where the trail easement is.
Doesn't the trail easement go all the way to the beach?
No, it doesn't. The trail easement goes all the way over to,
it continues past it.
it continues past it, and it goes over to that road that comes in along Shipley Swamp, because they're very clear, members of the general public are not allowed on that beach. There is no public access.
So it's around the beach?
It's
is the
around-
easement?
There's, there's a grassy strip where the trail is that goes, I think there's even vegetation between the trail and the beach itself.
Yeah. I mean, if this is a concern and,
I
you
have no
know,
concern with the scout part of the project. I think his part is
Okay.
fine and great. What I have a concern with is the association jumping on it at the end of his project and doing exactly what? We don't know. We
So-
don't have a plan that shows what they plan to do. We don't have a time frame for when they're gonna do it, whereas with the scout, we do.
Can I make, okay, so then what I'd like to do is, you can go to the order of conditions, is that, the findings, is that new finding,
oops, sorry.
it says, so the commission finds that the property owner may extend the boardwalk during the period while the order is valid. If the property owner wishes to do so,
You should come before
they,
us.
they will need to bring to the commission a plan of the proposed work, and they must adhere to all of the special conditions in this order,
Good.
That works.
That works.
Okay.
okay?
It covers both places.
Yeah. Okay.
You're still good.
So are there any comments or questions on these orders from members of the audience? So can I have a motion to issue the order of conditions as amended?
So moved.
Second?
All of those in favor? Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. So You're all set?
Thank you very much.
Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor, Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Margaret, yes. So the hearing's closed. Thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Good luck. Yes.
Thank you and good luck with the project.
Thank you. Okay, so now we move on to our next agenda item, which is a discussion with the Friends of East Boston Camp.
My name is Rose O'Donnell. I'm the president of the Westford Friends of East Boston Camps. And since the Conservation Commission has care and custody of the Stony Brook Conservation Area, we've kind of worked closely over the years. I'm here with three purposes. First, to inform you that the board has taken a vote to disband the organization. And the, oh, those are my meetings. Oh, are you really gonna put those up?
We don't have to.
Well, it's okay.
I can have the
There's
letter.
nothing, the letter is fine.
Okay, letter's better.
Yeah, and, sorry. And the reasons which I'm about it is, it's gotten more difficult to raise funds, since we've come on. The board is old. Half of the board, more than half the board is over 80. And we have been unable, I have been unable and other members to, attract additional board members to the board. In addition, the events that we've sponsored over the last 3 years have not returned the kind of returns that we've gotten in the past. We had the last big event that we had, and we would not have we would have lost money if we hadn't had a large bid on on the last trail. So it was a lot of work for not a lot of return, and that's been, we have fewer sponsors than we used to have. It's harder to get the sponsors to agree, and they give much smaller donations than they used to. So, we took a vote, and we decided that the time has come to end it. In addition, we've achieved an awful lot, as you know, in the camps. All the dining hall, the bathrooms, the nurses' station, some roofs, the director's cabin. I won't go through everything that the Friends have been able to achieve. There's only 2 things left. So we were sort of winding down even in the projects that we were looking at. So I'm here to tell you of that decision and to make 2 requests. We have about $55,000 left in funds. And we were going to expend it on the Shoba Lodge, the big building that's at the camps. It needs the chimney to be rebuilt and the fireplace to be rebuilt on the inside. The chimney's not attached to the building any longer, so probably it needs a new chimney. And we would ask you to take those funds and expend them on those 2 projects. And if there's any funds left over, that you may do with them whatever you decide you could do with them. The second request is that we have some good pages on our website. One is a good history of the East Boston camps written by Marion Harmon. We have an article about Emily Edwards. I don't know if any of you knew Emily Edwards, but she was a young woman who was very active with the Friends, and she passed away of cancer at a very young age. So we had a big memorial for her, and there's a nice article about her on that page, and I think her contributions to the East Boston camps would be noted. And the last piece would be the accomplishments that the Friends have achieved at the camps over the years, if we could just make note of that. And we would ask you to take those pages or that information, put them on your website, maybe under the Stony Brook Conservation Area pages, or something like that. And those are the 2 things we request of you.
We certainly
I know
went
it's
back
sad.
a few years. I
It's
know.
sad. It is sad, but you know, it was just Sisyphus.
How many
right?
years?
Since 07? Yeah. Long.
We're very appreciative for everything. you've done.
Well, I mean, a lot of work was
I
done by a
understood.
lot of, I mean,
went
I've
to
only
some of
been there
those
for,
functions. They
yeah,
were a lot of
yeah.
fun, and they
yeah.
certainly did raise a lot of money, certainly years
A
ago.
lot of money, over $500,000, I think they've raised in all, 250 alone for the bathhouse. So it's good, it was good. The time has come. We gave balls and people, they didn't come and they're not, it just wasn't, it's not there
Life has
anymore.
changed.
It has changed.
Was the
So,
final trail named?
I bought it,
What was it named?
O'Donnell Family Trail.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I bought the first trail, my son did actually, named
Oh, so
after
you're
my
the Rose
husband.
O'Donnell with the bench.
I am,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And the Bill O'Donnell Trail was my husband, so with bookends, right, the first and the last.
And we have the signage that's going up in April when Umesh returns. Me on ladders is never a good thing, so.
I'll do it.
Okay, and so, you know what the process is for
Yes, the-
transitioning the funds to the
Yep.
town?
The next step would actually be to
Legal.
get on the select board, agenda, as they are the executive board of the town. They need to authorize the funds to be accepted.
Do I have to do that, or will you? Oh,
I
good.
I'm just sharing with the, I'm sharing with the
No, no, no,
class. But that's the process, would be the select board.
That's the conditions that come with the donation of funds concern me, because it kind of leaves open the one condition where it talks about if there's excess funds, but it doesn't say what happens if there's not, if there's insufficient funds.
That's
Because if there's not, I don't know how much,
Can't do it
I
for
don't know what the
56
condition is of
yeah,
that
I don't-
fireplace or the chimney, but they
I
can be
have no
expensive to do.
idea, Jim. I have no idea.
And the buildings, I don't know if they're gonna be demolished or removed or whatever, the Girl Camp.
We actually, some of the members of the board wanted me to ask as well that if there were any funds left over, you take those buildings
Well,
down.
that's what it says in the.
Yeah,
in the-
yeah, well, that's why I didn't want, right.
But we've tried to get rid of those buildings in the past,
And why can't you?
because
Nobody wants
nobody
them.
will take them.
Well, just knock them down. People are camping in them,
I don't know that they're camping them in them, but they're all broken into, ramshackled, and completely overgrown by the pine
And
tree.
we would have,
forest.
Look at that.
we would have tried to take that on probably as a project. I don't know. I think you could build a chimney for $56,000 even.
Chimney and a fireplace, and then, well, that's also in remove the buildings, right?
Well,
No,
that's what-
again, that's.
Just reading what it says,
but,
paragraph 2, right?
No,
Replace the
not in
chimney,
what I wanted to talk to you about.
No,
replace the chimney, repair the fireplace, and demolish the buildings in the girl camp.
What are you reading?
Paragraph 2.
Is it but
On the letter that we got from you.
the email?
Yes, it's an email.
I sort of read it
I
as
have it right
the
here.
funds could be used for any of those things,
No.
not that it had to be for every single thing.
Pull up the email.
Oh, I see it now. I'm
Paragraph
sorry.
2.
Yes, yes.
Paragraph
Again, what do you do with $56,000 when a nonprofit is coming to its end? You want to do something that honors the intent of the people who donated the money. The people who donated the money donated it to improve and maintain the camp, the East Boston camps. So we would like you to use the money to improve the camps, not for any other purpose that you might have.
Okay, if it was open like that, I could think of other things that we've had people approach us a lot about problems with dogs on the property. If we could put up some of these posts and help assist with the collection of dog waste, things like that, that would help the property a lot.
but,
I'm sorry, but our interest was in the building and in
Understand
permanent,
that.
yes.
So it's very restrictive on what we can
It
do.
is restricted,
Yes.
and if you can't,
But it's
I
a
don't,
donation that we
but
didn't have
it's
before.
also, I think these are things that will need to be dealt with eventually.
eventually you have to
Right.
do it, somebody has.
Do it,
So-
and
so
you're
money will be
providing the funds to
earmarked.
do that.
Money
You know,
will be
there's a lot of
earmarked.
stuff associated with the camps that we need to find a way to pay
Yes.
for as well.
Yes.
You know, and so they've set their priorities and they're making a very generous donation towards stuff we'll have to do eventually, so.
We'll have to figure out a way
Right,
to
so
do
it's gonna
what
be
we need to.
maintained in an account separate somehow so that we just use it for the items that are indicated here.
Yeah, just like we do when a scout returns excess funds.
We won't come and check up on you.
Can we quote you, Rose?
None of that's in writing.
Absolutely. I trust this
In a minute.
commission,
I feel like I'll have Rose
absolutely.
on my shoulder, so, the conscience,
But I just, for the people who donated so generously, it would be good to honor their
I want to
donations.
thank you for all the
Yeah.
years and the love and
It's
all the,
been,
the
yeah.
nurturing you did.
It's been a lot of
Certainly
work,
that
and
bathhouse
Leslie
stands out.
Thomas has
Excuse me?
done, Leslie Thomas has done yeoman's work.
Oh,
and a
yeah,
lot of
it's not
people
one
have.
person, but it's
Yeah,
it's definitely
yeah.
been a concerted effort, and it's been an effort that,
And Peter too,
From
Peter
the
Mullins.
Oh, God, and Peter is still, even though he doesn't even live here
Not
anymore,
even in
he's
the same
still our
state. He's-
treasurer.
yep, yep.
So, and he will be, if you're interested, he will be doing all the legal work
Who
to
is that?
close. Peter Mahler,
oh, yeah, yeah.
to close it down. And I will put a letter up, just so you'll know everything that's gonna happen.
Is that
on-
something we need legal to look at, our legal?
No, I mean, it's not a part of, again, they're
Okay,
their own
just
kind
asking,
of,
just
non.
asking.
And I
There's a whole
trust-
process
And
for
I trust,
closing
and I
down.
trust Peter to do it right,
Yeah.
of all
No,
people.
I'm just asking, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
There's a whole process for shutting
Okay.
down a nonprofit. And I intend to put the letter up tomorrow on the website on the first page. I already took off all ability to donate or to become a member. And I'll be glad to get rid of the, being a webmaster too, because I'm too old for this. So that will be the plan, and we'll probably keep it up another month or two, and then it'll go wherever,
And so you'll
dead websites.
Yeah, we'll-
give her
You can talk to
contacts
Matt
for.
and see
for
And will
we
you
to say
take-
Content we need to.
Will you take the content as the second big
Yeah,
question?
again, you know.
Say again?
The content that we ask you to take, would you put it on your website under,
That
In-
that sounds fine.
Yeah,
The history-
just to keep it and to.
Yeah, the history's a good thing, right?
yes. And we'll find a, yes, we'll find a way to,
Get
we'll
to-
find a home for the content.
Thank you.
And
I
we'll
will-
share it so that you'll see.
I'll
that it
work
gets
with
done.
Matt to get it to you.
Yeah.
All right. And again, sad, right, but the right thing to do, so.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for all the work you've done for the campus.
How many years?
For me, five or
Excuse
six, yeah. Just 5 or 6.
Really?
Yeah,
That was more.
I don't actually remember. No.
Vote to accept the funds.
Okay, so can I have a motion to accept the donated funds to enable us to do the projects?
To graciously accept a generous gift. So moved.
All those in favor? Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Anne?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes,
And Margaret, yes.
Thank you
Thank you again.
thank you.
Thank you.
very much. Ooh, someone's
You will.
pen.
Oh, no, that's a laser
That's
pointer.
the pointer.
Laser pointer.
Don't look at it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on to our 7:15 PM agenda item, we have a certificate of compliance request for Orton, 42 Lawson Road.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. As we're getting ready to,
For the record, you are,
I'm Doug Orton at 42 Lawson Road.
thank you.
Yes, so in our order of conditions, file number 334
1337.
1337. It involved removing 5 large white pine trees. This was back in 2011 that were adjacent basically to the lake within a 5-foot buffer. And they were very large, so I presented it to the Conservation Commission, and they came out and decided it was unsafe. And so we had a plan to plant other trees there to replace them. It also involved having a state-approved dock that we had installed. It was a U-shaped dock, and we had a rip-wrap wall there. We had removed cement stairs. It was in rough shape, all kinds of cement objects there on the wall, along with natural rock. So we had rip-wrap installed, replaced, had a kind of a natural wall built without cement. It's stood well for now 13 years with granite steps. And then, as I said, we planted trees. So Matt came out, looked at the trees. They all complied. One was a dead Japanese maple, which was not indigenous to the area, which I did not know at the time. So we since replaced it with a red maple. Matt came out Tuesday and saw that, and everything looked good. So that's the reason I'm here, just to kind of close out that order as we get ready to sell our house in May.
Just one, I agree, and would recommend the certificate of compliance be issued. There was one continuing, ongoing condition in the first amended order of conditions, that no petroleum products or hazardous material be stored on the dock. So that's just
Yeah.
more so. We found it, and it's included in the certificate of compliance in perpetuity.
Yeah, which we don't do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I have a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for DEP file number 334-1337?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Anne?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. So you're all
You're all
set.
set.
Thank you,
Thank you, good luck.
thank you. Thanks, Matt.
Okay, moving on to our 7:20 PM agenda item. Camar Real Estate LLC, Colonel Rolls Drive.
Question on the one before it.
Oh.
Why is that crossed out?
There's some
Is
we-
problem, not, hasn't,
yeah,
not
they're-
ready for
yeah,
review yet?
it's-
Okay,
getting tabled.
okay, thank you.
All right. Good evening, Mark Slager from Allen Engineering, here on behalf of KMR. We are requesting two things. One would be a certificate of compliance for an order of conditions that was issued back in 1987, I believe. And this was for the construction of the old gravel access drive and a 30-inch, I believe it was, culvert for a stream crossing. It was installed, but that whole thing has been superseded with the order of conditions that's there now. So none of that actual work actually exists anymore. So we'd like to just close that out so that it's off the books. And then the second thing we'd be requesting is an extension of the order of conditions that's there now. Things have moved on a little bit more slowly than we were hoping. In fact, as I met with Matt the other day on the site, we believe everything is gonna be done within the next year, with the exception of the finished paving. So it would probably be best to request a 2-year extension, because the finished paving technically has to be done by November 15th, which is only 7 months from now. And given the timeframes within the commission and the highway department with their paving schedule, we're not gonna make it by next November 15th, or by next April 15th for that matter. So we'd like to request a 2-year extension.
Okay, let's deal with things chronologically. So Matt, we're all set with the certificate of compliance for the older order?
Yes, and the former owners actually did come in when they were selling to get the certificate of compliance, but they didn't have any plans. So it kind of got tabled until, they filed plans, and, much to Mark's point, the culvert doesn't exist the work doesn't exist anymore, and would recommend it be issued. And I think it's also a condition in the order of conditions as well, maybe. And with the extension as well, I'm in favor of, 2 years.
Okay, can I have a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for DEP file number 334-271?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel? Jim?
Yes.
Anne?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. And can I have a motion to extend the order of conditions until April 14th, 2026 for DEP file number 334-1755?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Marilyn? Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Anne?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too.
You too. Okay, moving on to our 7:25 PM agenda item, discussion of stormwater system management by the Gutierrez Company, Technology Park East.
Hi, good evening, members of the board. For the record, my name is Israel Lopez. I'm with the Gutierrez Company, and with me is Scott Goddard of Goddard Consulting, our wetland scientist. I hope most of you, if not all of you, are familiar with the property at 110 Littleton Road, the office campus that's located off of Littleton, what we refer to Aztec Park East. Our company designed and owned and built that campus going back as far as the late 80s. I think the last building was built around sometime 2006 or so. And what we're proposing to do is some maintenance work associated with the stormwater basins located, throughout the park. And all of the properties within the park are subject to an order of conditions and a certificate of compliance. And so what we wanted to do is, number one, notify the agent and the town of the proposed maintenance work, not only because it's required in the order, but also the last thing that we want is for someone to pick up the phone and call the agent and say what's going on at the park, and for him not to know what's going on there. So what we've done is we sat down, we put together sort of a general scope of the work that we're proposing to do within the stormwater basins at the park, most of which is really just routine work, and the language for the proposed scope comes straight out of the orders of conditions within each property. So we're really just mirroring, the maintenance work that was proposed within the order, but we wanted to flag it, kind of identify it. We've put together this plan that numbers all of the basins and provided a schedule with sort of the proposed generic scope of work in each basin. And we went through and did a site walk with the agent to just kind of talk through it. Really, the stormwater management system, I think last year was really the test with all the rain that we had beginning in the spring and then really lasting all through the summer. And so everything is functioning the way that it should be functioning. The work that we're proposing is really intended to make sure that everything continues to function the right way. One of the things that we're, really going to be looking at in all the basins is, are the inlets with these rain events and the large volumes of water that come in. There's, erosion that happens in some of the orifices. And then there's also, a fair amount of foliage that kind of overhangs and over time just accumulates within the basins and sort of builds up sediment and, starts to detract from the functionality of the basin. So those are kind of the key things that, that the work is going to entail. With the exception of two basins, all of the stormwater features in the park are just not, constructed basins. There were two that were constructed prior to
96.
96, thank you, that are in a former wetland. And so for those, we want to make sure that really what we're proposing there is just some management of invasives around the periphery of those, and again, just making sure that the inlets are not clogged, and to the extent that they are, we want to be able to go in and clean them out. Scott's team, Mark Arnold, who is the wetland consultant that walked the site and was here with Matthew earlier, is on vacation this week. So we have the owner of the company who's with us tonight, but I'll let Scott fill in any additional information.
No, I think that's a good overview in my review of it, and I've been through to the site as well. There are certificates of compliance for all the activities that have taken place on this property all over the past 40 years, and those COCs, from my read, allows a degree of ongoing maintenance, specifically mentioned in the certificates. So I think the work that the Gutierrez company is wanting to do is proactive. I think it's allowed within the COC. I don't think it requires any additional permitting, but I think this is a good proactive step so that it, the systems stay in good shape and Matt doesn't get too many phone calls.
I haven't
Any
experienced
phone
this.
calls.
Did you have thoughts, Matt? I mean, you walked the site, right?
Yeah, I walked the site. Again, their table of, kind of the summary. I was appreciative of kind of the orders of conditions and, the certificates of compliance dates, because I tried to take a stab quickly, and after about one property gave up and but I was glad to see everything has a certificate of compliance. Included with the special conditions, you know, the maintenance of the stormwater, the condition does allow for maintenance in perpetuity. I think there was just, and really the onset was, you know, kind of an annual check-in, annual kind of maintenance plan with, you know, to be provided to the the commission or its agent, so that, you know, I'm aware of, and I don't know what has been done, but at the same time, you know, going forward, I thought it was a good first step, and thought having, you know, kind of education for the commission as well, you know,
Sounds
see the scope of work and what and where.
Jim?
So from your walk around the property, what you did see, it looked like it's being
Yeah.
maintained well.
Yeah,
Good.
again,
Fantastic, great.
nothing was,
To get such a good record.
but
Great.
the stormwater certainly looked to have been functioning, and again, we've
It's getting a
we've
good
had
test
enough.
right now too, the past month or so. We've had
I know, right?
Plenty of rain, yeah.
That's Murphy's Law.
And Matt, so some of these not managed, not owned by the Gutierrez company, right? Any concerns about those at all for ongoing management?
I didn't really look too hard at them. I mean, it may be worth a friendly, you know, letter to remind about them. Just
Yeah, we actually included a few bullet points in terms of the existing condition of those, even though we're not responsible
See them
for
right
them.
there, yeah.
They were, you know, they're being maintained and generally in good shape, and they're functioning. We would know because we'd get spillover onto the common roadway, so they're certainly functioning well. Could they, you know, benefit from perhaps some invasive, you know, management and some cleanup of the inlet structures? That's probably, you know, the case.
Okay.
So Matt, if this is gonna be, excuse me, so I think what you're proposing is their maintenance activities, and what would happen would be, for example, there'd be an annual review and to see if a particular basin needed attention. Is there any kind of follow-up that you would then do, or any kind of communication to make you aware of what was happening?
not outside of, you know, what was proposed at the beginning of the year. And again, you know, I'm sure logging all this is, you know, a part of, you know, so that you can show that you are in compliance.
Sure, if you're, we're happy to have you come out when the work is ongoing and after, it, you know.
More so
after
just
it's
at,
done.
you know, kind of at the end, and, you know, have the, you know, this year, this was what we did,
Right,
you know,
to
just
identify
as,
it.
you know, and again, it's,
Well-
there's too many orders to put it specifically in each file, but just to kind of have the conversation and, you know, kind of the practice of, you know, in March and April, here's what we're proposing to do, and then, you know, come November, here's the scope of what we did do, and, you know, just
Sounds
so
good.
that there is kind of some,
Well, where I
follow
was
back.
going with it was from the properties or the basins that are not owned by the Gutierrez company is, do we need to kind of reach out to those property owners to make sure that we're getting comparable, you know, that they continue to maintain the basins?
Maybe
You
a
know, it's
letter.
just, it's kind of like, how do we get everybody doing the same thing?
yeah, I can certainly reach out to them and just, you know,
Okay.
and
Have them
and
respond.
some also haven't gotten a certificate of compliance, and so I'm actually familiar with that, and I've spoken with people about, you know,
Okay.
A, getting the certificate of compliance, and B, making sure that, you know, the stormwater management features that were constructed are functioning, because that's a, you know, component to making sure that the wetlands are protected.
Okay. There's no-
One other question. What's the timeline for doing this kind of work?
We'd like to start, if we can get a stretch of dry weather sometime in late May, June timeframe.
And how long would it take?
Probably, because we're gonna be doing it sequentially, you know, from basin to basin, I would say through the summer.
Okay, that's every year would be about the same timeline?
Right, correct. Mhm. July, you know, I wouldn't see it going really past August.
And again, you know, I don't know how much work has been done.
We
to
haven't
maintain-
done any
Right,
work
right.
yet.
So, I think there is the returns for, subsequent years, you're mowing, you're not removing, 2-inch caliper trees on the bank of, or you're now able to manage something much smaller, because that's then you're not, the threat of those, uprooting and,
Well,
impact.
Sounds like good strategy. Okay.
No motion or anything, this is an informational meeting. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on to our 7:30 PM agenda item, it's a continuation of a public hearing and issue order of conditions for 60 Pleasant Street. Jim, I'm going to hand off the chairperson's baton to you since we don't have Eric, because I need to recuse myself from this public hearing.
Okay. 2 weeks ago, we heard from the applicant, 60 Pleasant Street LLC, that their plan is to raise an existing building, a shed, build a new house, a new accessory shed, and reduce the overall paved area. So then essentially, we're reducing the impervious surface on the property that's being developed, which is a good thing. And then there's a little bit of a trade in terms of distances from wetlands and bordering lands subject to flooding. The new building is farther away from the wetlands, but a little bit closer to the bordering land subject to flooding, so we have a trade there. And in terms of mitigation, there's gonna be a Title V compliant septic. There'll be double the number of trees that are taken down will be added in. There was a observed area where there was some wetland fill near the entrance of the property. That's gonna be removed and renaturalized. And one thing that was asked for by the commission was some sort of a buffer up against the pond. And the plan is to put a post and rail fence about 30 feet from the pond, so it'll provide a limit of work, a permanent limit of work, limit of disturbance
Sounds good.
marker. So I think all good things overall. Marilyn, do you have any
No,
comments?
that sounds good.
No? Ann, any comments on the draft order of conditions that Matt put together?
No, looks good to me.
Noel?
Nope.
Okay.
My only comment, I did reach out to the project engineer and the property owner regarding whether a dock was desired, and at this time
They
it's,
said no, right?
they said no.
Right, that's-
So
that's-
it's
that's
not
what they said.
included, there's no,
Okay.
and,
Okay, so all we gotta do is approve the order of conditions as
Yeah,
drafted.
uh,
So can I have a
ju-
motion? Oh,
just if
oh, for
there's
the-
any
the,
public comment.
Okay. From the applicant, any comment on the draft?
Nope. Just for the record, Paul Campbell, Chess Engineering, representing the applicant.
Okay, all right. Can I have a motion to,
The audience?
what, oh, anybody in the audience have a comment on the proposed order of conditions or the project? No? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the order of conditions as drafted?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Marilyn?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Me, yes. Ann?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Okay, it's unanimous. And I guess we have to move to close the hearing. Can I have a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Second, good. All in favor, Marilyn?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Me, yes. Ann?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. They'll be sending you the order of conditions, in whatever within 10 days, is it, Matt,
We
something like
didn't
that?
let you breathe.
It'll be out tomorrow.
Okay,
We
good.
didn't let you breathe.
I'm here again for the next one.
Good thing.
Good scheduling, Matt.
Turn those in, or
Yes, great scheduling.
what's that?
Okay. Nicely done, Jim. Moving on to our 7:35 PM agenda item, it's a public hearing for Spinato, 5 Blaisdell Road.
Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetlands bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, March 27th, 2024, at 7:35 PM, in Meeting Room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the request for determination of applicability application of Joseph Spadano for the construction of an addition, garage, and deck to the single-family dwelling within 100 feet of bordering vegetative wetlands and bordering land subject to flooding at 5 Blaisdell Road.
Okay, good evening. My name is Paul Campbell, Chess Engineering, the surveyor and engineer of record, and I'm here representing Joe Spadano, the owner and applicant, 5 Blaisdell Road. So, we're proposing, Joe's proposing to build an addition and a garage, a deck, and a driveway at his residence at 5 Blaisdell Road. So, the property is subject to, has bordering wetland, and those were flagged by Lucas Environmental last month. And the property is also subject to flooding. It's in a FEMA Zone A, which is unmapped. No base flood has been established. So I've added in the GIS layer here. Pretty much kind of mirrors the wetland line. So all the work is being proposed within, the work falls within the 100 feet of your jurisdiction. Most of the work is occurring 75 feet or more beyond the wetland buffer. The only work happening within that area, within your 30-foot, your 55-foot no-build area, is a deck for the front of the house. But the deck doesn't get any closer to the wetland than the building already is. So this project is not subject to any stormwater requirements, either locally at the state level. Single-family houses exempt, and at the local level, anything under an acre of disturbance is under the requirements. So we're proposing here just some erosion and sediment control in front of where the construction is going to be happening, to deal with any erosion and sediment. So we feel this is a pretty benign project. I didn't show it on the plan, but just in case you're wondering, there's a septic system right around here, but no work is happening on the septic system or anything like that. So that's pretty much it, and I'm here for any questions or concerns you might have.
When was the house constructed?
1961.
And the driveway, the existing driveway is remaining or to be?
Well, I plan on moving it. It would be better for our kids, and then also, that's a lot of impermeable surface. It's kind of actually, there's no curb currently, so we get a ton of runoff just into the wetlands from the driveway. So I'm hoping it would improve that significantly. Just put the stone wall across it that's existing.
Okay, so the existing driveway is to be removed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then would the house be on Craig Circle instead of,
I don't know how that works.
usually the driveway
Yeah.
determines?
I don't know, but that's a building.
Is it the front door? I don't know if it's the front door or the driveway. I don't.
I don't know. That's a building commissioner question.
Yeah, might want to check on that.
Jim?
Is there gonna be any regrading as the new addition is put in? Because it looks like it's a pretty steady slope down and away from the house towards the wetland area, and it doesn't look like there's any new grading.
Probably do like a walkout basement. I think I was working with Colonial Design, and he kind of showed that quickly, but we just wanted to get a footprint to get conservation's approval and the zoning board's approval.
Yeah, and I wouldn't anticipate any grading here behind the, we'd be matching existing grades and just using the foundation of the addition and the garage.
Nothing beyond the siltation barrier?
Yeah, definitely nothing back here, but even back here, I wouldn't anticipate any grading. I think the driveway is gonna have to be graded somehow, because this is all sloping
Yeah, it's
this
all
way.
all slopes down.
Yeah, but in terms of here, I don't see any need for any regrading here.
So what would you do?
What is this right here?
It's a play structure.
Oh, that's the shed.
Yeah,
The
there's a
play
shed and a
structure
play structure.
is next to the shed.
Okay.
Okay. So is there any plan for infiltration along the side of the new driveway to capture runoff?
No, because it's not subject to stormwater.
No, but I'm just thinking in terms of, so you don't have runoff on the driveway sheet flowing across the yard?
No, I'd still say this will probably be regraded to slope towards the street, but again, this isn't subject to any stormwater kind of.
No, but it just, in terms of where it's in the buffer zone,
Yep.
making sure that the water is recharged close
Okay.
to where it hits the ground.
Sure, we could maybe we can propose.
Just like even a French drain next to the edge of the driveway, just so that,
Crushed stone or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say like crushed stone along the lower end. We could propose that here to capture some of the runoff heading towards the.
yeah, just so that it infiltrates there rather
Okay.
than potentially causing erosion. Jim?
Where's the existing septic system compared to the new construction?
It's the septic system's back here.
Good,
Yeah.
great,
Yeah,
okay.
it's nowhere near.
Thank you.
There were some aerial photos.
Yeah, so I mean, that was gonna be, I wanted to get the commission's, thoughts on this work, the work that is being proposed. And then, there was, in reviewing the aerial imagery from, 21 through 23, certainly trees have been removed, trees within the buffer have been removed, and, what the commission's interest is in having, because some of those wetland flags are fairly close to the edge of the tree line. Whether that be something that is included as condition of, a determination of applicability, or whether that be tied to enforcement. What's the,
Can we see the aerial photos? Please.
so that was 21, 2022, and 23.
So in some places, there was clearing almost to the wetlands edge.
Yes.
What is the distance between the play structure and the wetlands?
41 feet, 11 inches.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. What's the distance between the shed and the wetlands?
This is the 30-foot limit of
Okay,
work
so
line.
so
it's
the
right
shed
on
is,
yeah, it's right on the 30-foot limit of work.
what's stored in the shed?
There's a bunch of kids' toys, Power Wheels. Ideally, I would demolish that shed. It was a horse barn. The previous owners had a horse and goats. I'd like to it's kind of dilapidated now. I'd like to tear it down and then move all the stuff stored there to the new, where we're building the porch. We're proposing like a little storage area. And so getting rid of that shed, which is obviously very close to the wetlands, would help, as well as getting rid of that driveway, so.
Okay, yeah, no, because our primary concern is, no storage of lawnmowers, no storage of petroleum products,
Right,
no.
yeah,
Yes.
any gases.
So yes,
yeah.
we would be very happy to see that shed go.
Oh, me too. My wife has not had a roof since we bought the house, and we've been like, well, should we put a roof on it? And then I was like, no, we're gonna tear it down, so.
Okay. Noel, you had a question?
I was gonna ask about trees, whether the plan is to take down any trees, but Matt asked two different questions related.
Yeah.
How many trees were taken down within the buffer?
I don't have,
And can we tell, because it looks like the most recent picture has a lot of regrowth, but the older ones don't. And what were those, the dates of the,
so this is July 21.
okay.
This is April 22. So again, the leaf,
Okay.
this is leaf off, so, and this is July 23. So,
Extensive clearing.
and so, I mean, again, as shown on the plan, the tree line is, at wetland flag 06, so, no, sorry. Yeah, wetland flag 06, that's not a leader, yeah, so 06 and, 07, those are, it was cleared to the edge of, the wetland, so, establish a 30-foot, limit, if, have that be renaturalized prior to, conservation posts be installed.
Along
And
the 30-foot.
along the 30-foot, and again, in, maybe 15 feet down, here, just so that there's, and then-
So that there's room to navigate around that side of the house.
right, install conservation posts at 30 feet with less on the southern side of the house, the existing dwelling, and, allow to renaturalize. Would the commission want plantings? A specific number of plantings. Again, I was unable to count the trees removed.
Can we revisit that?
Not with a determination of applicability.
A significant amount of trees.
Some.
Yeah.
Do you know how many trees were taken down?
The guy I hired to do it seemed to be confident that they weren't too close to the wetlands, but that obviously was not the case. But what's that?
Do you know how many you took down? Yes?
It was at least a truckload of pines, and they were all breaking and limbs were falling off. I have some pictures from the Zillow listing when we bought the house, and it's mostly grass in that area, minus the tree cover. Now obviously it's gone, but I would be interested in planting something else there, because now it's kind of open to the swamp, and we're looking at the swamp.
We could create
Okay.
a tree.
So you're understanding that what we're talking is, so with the 30 wetland limit buffer, from there down to the corner past the dilapidated shed.
Yeah, that's all undisturbed now.
Yeah, so we would want it demarcated and then headed up towards Blaisdell Road, not necessarily following the 30, but maybe working a little bit closer to the property line, so you have room to, for example, maneuver stuff around the edge of the existing dwelling. Sometimes we say let nature take over, but sometimes we also say homeowner plant native plantings, and one advantage of native plantings is you can do something
Maybe Matt could.
other than a white pine, so you're not having something that
Yeah.
grows really tall and drops branches on it.
Sure. Which honestly, there are more pines. I'd have to be a separate hearing, but I'd like to take down, because we've had a few fall and almost hit the house. So they're big trees too. I think with the kids upstairs, it's just kind of nerve-wracking. So.
Okay, so if you would come forward with a request to take out trees, know that one of the things that we would be looking for is trees, is if you take one down in the buffer zone, we would like you to plant something in its place. It can be something that's not gonna grow
I would do a
as tall.
maple or an oak or
Maple.
something better. Yeah. So.
An evergreen that maybe tops out at 30 feet, full grown, so it's just, we're looking for you to replace a tree with a tree, but not necessarily the same kind, so you can go for something
I'm
that's not gonna be as
fine
tall.
with that. Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay,
So 12, call it a dozen plantings to be provided to me, as a part of the conditional negative determination.
On top of the 30-foot.
Yeah, in addition to the, within the 30-foot.
yeah, and, yeah, so that, yeah, because that's what we would want, would be native species. Do you have any other?
Nope.
Okay, are there any comments or questions from members of the audience on this project? Okay, so we're looking at conditional negative determination.
Yes, to install crushed stone drainage, down gradient of the proposed driveway, remove the shed, and then establish a no disturb buffer with conservation posts at 30 feet along the westerly wetland and approximately 15 to 20 feet along the southerly wetland, and with 12 native tree plantings to be reviewed by myself.
Did you, I'm sorry, things are kind of spinning in my head. Did you also note that the existing driveway will be removed?
And remove shed and existing driveway.
Yeah, 'cause I
Shed
think-
and driveway. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it sounds like this is not a case where we would want an updated plan of record. So we need to make sure that we've got all of the details noted. Anything else? Okay, so can I have a motion to issue a conditional negative determination of applicability?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes?
Noel?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. So negative determination is a good thing.
That's good, yep, I appreciate it, thank you.
Very much.
Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All those in favor? Marilyn? Yes. Noel? No.
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes.
Thank
Well
you.
said. Thank you. Okay, moving on to our 7:40 PM agenda item, continuation of a public hearing for Yang, 88 Tadmuk Road. The applicant has requested a continuance without discussion to April 24th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, Marilyn? Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. Okay, moving on to our 7:45 PM agenda item, continuation for a public hearing for Wilma Realty, 426 Littleton Road.
Move to continue to April 24th.
Second.
All those in favor, Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. Okay. Moving on to our 7:55 PM agenda item, Ryan Development LLC, 364 Littleton Road.
Hi, good evening. Matt Waterman with Land Tech Consultants, representing Ryan Development, who may come walking through at any moment, but was on kid duty down at the Millworks, picking up and dropping off kids. At our last meeting, we had talked about continuing the hearing. We were hoping to get all the work done by today. Just a reminder as to building down, heading towards Campbell's on your left, just as you go by the 99s. They did get work started. Matt was out there, had done some inspections. I've been out there probably 3 times since our last meeting. They did not get the work done. We're here tonight to give just a quick update, but to ask, I know we can't get a certificate of compliance on the newer order conditions, but we were hoping, because they are still trying to close, and they were hoping to, maybe if the board could take action on that older, the order conditions from 1987, the 334227. A portion of the land is in land court, and so there's more work to get things registered at registered land at the registry of deeds. So they had just asked if the board could maybe take action on that. I don't think there was any issues. We were just kind of keeping them together, I think. I don't think there was any outstanding issues, though. And then secondly, they did put down finished pave today. They sent me some pictures. I was out there this morning. Had some emails and correspondence, make sure they were doing a couple things. I met with them to bring the order of the maintenance and the basins, and made sure they were not going where they weren't supposed to go and things like that. And I know the board doesn't meet again till April 24th or the end of April. And if the board has ever considered doing like a Zoom call, if the work was done within a week or so, just something we're asking the board to consider something like that, if possible.
Should we start with the easy one first, the 227?
Yes.
Can I have a motion to issue a certificate of
You believe it
compliance?
to be complete in
Yeah, I mean,
all respects?
I found aerial imagery from 1995, and much like the other historic certificate of compliance that the commission issued tonight, everything was the new building superseded, so would recommend it being issued.
Can I have a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for DEP file number 334-227?
Second.
All those in favor, Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. So that one's done. Okay, so,
And it's not something that has to be decided tonight. I mean, I think Matt could schedule it if things come together, and it was just wanted to get it out in front of the board, and if they would make it, we don't have to make the exact determination, but just that's something they would consider.
I would be in favor of it, as it is 4 weeks till the commission's next meeting. Additionally, we have received some correspondence from, I think, the Agricultural Commission that I think could be discussed at a regular meeting, but can be via Zoom, there's no public hearings, there's no notifications. And I would, certainly coordinate with, the commission to find a time for them that everybody.
So we would be talking probably something that second week in April, either
Yeah, the
Tuesday
second,
the 9th or Thursday the 11th?
I think Thursday the 11th would be most likely.
What's to stop us meeting on the 10th? I mean, besides it
It's
being
a-
a holiday
I
for the
wanted to
town.
ask the same
Holiday.
question.
Yeah,
It's
it
still-
is,
It's
Eid
Eid.
al-Fitr, yeah, and so,
What is it?
It's a Muslim religious
Or
holiday.
Eid,
yeah,
it's the end
Yeah.
of Ramadan.
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
and so that's what we're trying to avoid. But I mean, if, we can certainly entertain it as, but if Wednesday is also, I can ask and kind of get,
Well, and thinking about, because it becomes, it's a Zoom meeting, but it still becomes a, it's a public
Oh,
meeting,
okay.
but
Yeah,
it's
online.
online.
Yeah.
It's like, let's, if we can do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Does Thursday 11th work for people if things play out that way?
What time?
I mean,
It would be a regular 7.
It would be, yeah, but it would be remote.
yeah, I mean,
Might be driving.
Oh, you
it
might
could
be
also
driving.
be like we, could entertain
Could be
3 or
earlier.
4
Is this
o'clock.
nighttime?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
or,
again, we can figure this out off,
but yeah, we
I
can,
wouldn't-
okay,
I'm not available in the early part of the day, but I would be after.
okay. Okay.
But if I'm the only
Closer
one, you
to
still
the
have a
day.
majority.
Yes.
But no, I cannot make that.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. Yeah, now I know.
So, we will table the certificate of compliance for DEP file number 334818, but we still have the enforcement order.
Yes, that they're making progress towards,
Okay.
as Matt has discussed.
So the enforcement order does not require any, that's already been, we already issued that, so there's
Right,
nothing we have
we're
to
just-
do beyond that.
they have to do stuff.
Okay,
Right?
okay. I think he's sending a text.
Matt?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
Sorry, I
just a
thought you were
schedule.
talking amongst yourselves. I was,
Yeah.
Kevin was texting me and I got distracted. I apologize.
We're back in class.
Seriously. We didn't have phones in kindergarten. But I'm sure I did get talked to.
Joe Spadano, I have you. It's
Wasn't
pretty
ready for
funny.
that one.
Hands-on student. I like to be over in the water dish bowl area.
It was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. It's so funny.
You didn't teach him, did you?
I taught him.
You did?
Kindergarten, yes.
And you had little
I'm pretty
Joey?
old.
I had the picture, so I brought it in at one point.
Yeah, you
Of
bring
like
back.
our class photo with Marilyn and everyone.
It's so funny.
Okay. So, moving on to our 8:10 PM agenda item, it's a public hearing for Seal Harbor LLC and NSN Holdings LLC.
Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetlands bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, March 27th, 2024, at 8:10 PM in Meeting Room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the notice of intent application of Mark Gallagher, Seal Harbor LLC, and SNS Holdings LLC for the construction of an addition and garage to an existing single-family dwelling, construction of a new dwelling, and associated driveway and utilities, and an 11,695 square foot restoration area within 100 feet of bordering vegetative wetlands and within 200 feet of Blue Brook at 427 and 429 Groton Road.
Good evening, Matt Waterman with Land Tech Consultants for the record, here on behalf of Seal Harbor LLC, who is the applicant and the owner. They're working with the owner with, and I'm sure if you've driven up Route 40 in this past couple days, they've started work on a couple of the adjacent lots. But the original property owner owns Lot 5 and Seal Harbor owns Lot 4. They're working to purchase Lot 5, but at this point, it was set up as two owners. We're here for a notice of intent. We bundled the notice of intents for 4 and 5, strictly just because the way that the driveways intermingle with the existing driveway for 5, which I can get into. But typically, we would have 2 notice of intent applications, but we just felt like they were so close together that we put these 2 lots together as one notice of intent. this is the stone house, which is down by Blue Brook. It's just west of where Forest Road crosses Route 40. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the stone house. It kind of sits back. It's a historical house. I think it was actually a ticket booth or something along the old trolley line that runs behind it. So we're not tearing down the house. I know there was some plans at some point that kind of showed a house footprint on top of it, but the stone house is to remain, and there's a small-ish addition for that. We're here tonight with the notice of intent. Most of the work is with the stormwater management and restoration within the buffer zone. We've been able to keep the houses and the driveways outside. On this plan, it's colorized with the red being the wetland buffer and 50-foot buffer, 100-foot buffer, and the actual bordering the edge of wetlands. And then to the left of that is the Blue Brook, which is blue. And then there's two blue lines, the 100-foot riverfront, 200-foot riverfront. There's a lot of lines, and when you're looking at the plan black and white, they start to fade. Thank you, Matt. I like how we have 2 pointers now. But the river kind of is on the inside of the wetlands. And then you have the 100-foot wetland buffer, which mimics the 100-foot riverfront buffer, and then the outer 200. We did get a stormwater management permit from planning board. It's all been reviewed by engineering. The stormwater management report actually included all of the frontage lots down to Forest Road. These being the last two, lots 4 and 5, lot 1 being closest to Forest Road. And the condition of the stormwater management permit was that we come to the commission and get a notice of intent. So we phased the project to the 3 lots to the right and then these 2 lots. Lot 4 is new construction. It's the one on the easterly side of this plan. It's 1.58 acres. And then the lot 5, as we said earlier, is in addition to the existing stone house, and that lot is about 4.24 acres. The house is just over Jim's head, with a garage addition and an addition behind it to kind of give some more usable space for the existing house. Vegetation on site, mostly around, if you've seen the stone house, there's fairly cleared area, yard area around that house. The clearing is actually limited up to the front. There's just a small clearing here within the 200-foot buffer. But all of the work inside the riverfront, actually this dark hatched area is restoration area and stormwater within the buffers. But no driveways, house additions, or houses within the resource areas. They were not in natural heritage. There's no certified vernal pools, no floodplain. We're not in a zone 2. The flags were done by Norse, I think 2019, 2020, and then they've recently been updated by B&C Associates. We have the flags located. They're not on this plan. We need to update the plan with those flaggings. Matt and I walked the site last Thursday or Friday, and I think the flags are consistent. I think they do change as you get closer to the old trolley line and further south away from Groton Road. But when we first started, we could see the old Norse flags and the B&C flags, and they were on the same tree. So, but we do need to update that to reflect the new flagging. That was done. There's potential phase 2 on the other side of Blue Brook that had never been flagged, and so when David Crossman went out there, he just flagged it all over. So it's good. I think we have an updated wetland delineation, so I think it's good. It's busy work to update this plan, but beyond that, it's a good thing. Proposed buffer zone work is limited to stormwater and restoration. Lot 4, we're clearing within the riverfront. There is a small stormwater rain garden in the riverfront. There's a septic system in the riverfront. We did do extensive testing on lot 4 to kind of find alternatives. Our preference was to not put the septic in the riverfront. We actually have to file an amended A&R to jockey the lot line for that. But there's some real big, large rocks there, so it was prohibitive elsewhere. We did testing in the back, we did testing in the middle, and we did testing up front. So the testing was kind of limited to there. On lot 5, most of it, again, it's just mostly stormwater improvements with the rain garden, a trench drain along the driveway, and then restoring the buffer zone along the wetland and riverfront. Keeping improvements, we're moving all away from the resource areas. We store everything within the 50-foot buffer. We restore everything within the 100-foot riverfront buffer. And we limit grading changes on lot 5, which is the majority of the work within the riverfront area. The driveway just gets paved, you know, the house, the addition is at the same grade. So there's really no significant grading changes within the riverfront, where it's all existing, and it's just kind of making improvements to the property. And then lastly, I'll close. We did provide a detailed planting plan, and I'm sure if there's any questions on that, we could make modifications.
Jim?
One thing just to highlight, the rain garden number 5, this one over here to the west.
Yep.
It goes right over your gas main, and the gas main disappears up there too. Right, is this, I assume?
Yeah, it kind of is right on the edge of it. I see it right there, yep.
This is a depression, right?
Yep.
So I don't know how close, you don't want to come close to that.
Yep, we can tweak that.
And the gas main, I can't tell where it goes after that, but does it go up to where the restoration area is, or?
It does, no, it actually turns when we were out there. That gas location was when we did the septic repair for the house a couple years ago, and they had it flagged again when they were dropping off equipment on this lot. They're not doing any work, but we do have better information on that gas main, so we can update that.
Okay.
Yeah, because it looks like it just kind of ends.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where the flagging originally had stopped, so we didn't have any more information, but we can update that.
So is it actually there?
It is. I think it does turn and go towards kind
So
of
it's
mimics
still
the
an active
driveway.
lot? So yeah, we want to know where it is.
Right, make sure it's not under where the driveway's being dug up, or the rain garden.
Or under the restoration area, or replication? The restoration area.
Where it turns.
Okay.
I like the conservation post markers. That's a good place for them all.
Matt had his hand up.
I had just during our site visit, kind of over the slope of the existing tree line, just kind of some artifacts of human presence, bricks and concrete, and just kind of
Debris.
yeah. That was just my have that, you know,
Were you
kind of
seeing this?
just kind of off, yeah, kind of right down.
Yeah, it's hard to see, but it was kind of on the edge of where the lawn area. I guess it's the tree line's here, so.
Yeah, it's kind of right, you know, at the start of the tree line. That's where the slope is, down to the wetlands, and kind of just at the toe of the slope. Seemed to have accumulated stuff over the years, and you know, a special condition.
See it gone.
Yeah, you know, just, you know, give it a surface, you know, no need to kind of disturb, but if you can see it on the ground, you know, pick it up, dispose of it, and just so that there isn't, you know, bricks and concrete and blue tarps.
Or the idea that you can do that.
I mean, one would think the conservation post, but you never know.
Well, yeah, but also is if there's, that area's gonna be renaturalized, you wanna make sure you got all of that stuff out.
Right. But that would be something, I think they were considering doing that prior to the installation of the erosion controls, as, you know, they would probably have to have, you know, at least a skid steer or something over there to kind of haul everything away once collected, but overall, certainly a benefit to the resource and the buffer.
So with the work that's being done in the outer riparian zone, do we need any kind of a documentation in terms of alternatives analysis, for example, that says we had to put, we've already got one?
Is there not an alternatives analysis?
I'm 99% sure we did.
That's what I
Okay,
thought
I
too.
was, I did, I did a quick look for it, I didn't see something, so, you know, cause what caught my eye was the mounted septic. And so I was just, you know. But yeah, if you've done an alternatives analysis, we'd like to have a copy of it.
We'll update, make sure Matt has a copy of it. It's in
Yeah.
our notice of
Okay.
intent report, which I'm not seeing in that.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know if, yeah, if you can send that, we can just include it, and then it's
Okay.
in the record, but I
this-
remember seeing,
And I remember
I have
going
a hard
over with
copy, yeah.
the other Matt in my office and going through the different various
Yeah, I mean,
alternatives.
there is some, you know, on this plan, they do identify, you know, kind of, at least the percentages of the riverfront area, you know, being restored and, worked on, but, no, typically, that chart is very helpful in kind of documenting what's happening in different places.
And then graphically, just to follow up on that, you can see that, you know, the existing is that kind of light green, and then, you know, the proposed is that tan color and the amount of residents. Just trying to visually quantify it, if you will.
Okay, do you have stats for the amount of existing impervious and then post-project impervious? Just in terms of, because I know, you know, for example, paving of the driveway, you know, it's what are our numbers before and after?
We can do that. I know that the disturbance, we were not sure if we included the driveway, and I can clarify that, because if you look on the tag on the right-hand side, this is the area of clearing within the riverfront area.
Okay,
And we can certainly quantify the impervious areas
okay,
and make sure we're not exceeding with that driveway, and or if we need to keep it as gravel, if worse comes to worse.
okay. Anything else for you?
I have nothing. I'll probably reach out to DEP in the upcoming weeks just to see if they have comments. Typically or make sure they don't have any comments with respect to riverfront area, because that's usually where they opine.
Okay, the pedestrian safety.
Yeah, no, I talked
Okay.
to them.
Are there any comments or questions from members of the audience on this project? If you come up to the mic and, we like to know who you are and,
No, I just wanna know how many house lots.
okay,
Currently, right now, there's 4 new ones and the existing, I'm sorry, I assumed you wanted me to answer. I didn't
well,
mean to-
so it just, first of all, could you tell us who you are just for the minutes?
Ed DiMarino, I live 426 Rock Road.
Okay, just across the street, okay,
And I was just wondering how many house lots.
so how many house lots from the brook to Forest?
I'm
Or-
right next to the brook
Okay,
on 40.
okay, but you're
So
interested,
Across from the stone house.
okay, so you're interested in knowing how many houses are being built on the lot that currently only has a stone house?
Yes.
4 new houses, and then the stone house stays. So there'll be a total of 5,
Okay.
going from Blue Brook to Forest Road.
There's no houses behind the trolley line?
No, there is potentially a phase 2 where the little red house is.
Yeah.
Closer, if you're heading towards Groton.
On the other
Route
side of the
40.
brook?
But that's still, they're trying to get a determination on that. And that would be up and behind and way far away from Route 40, those houses.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so are you before any other boards?
Nope, we have our stormwater permit and we have the wetland flags located. We just need to get them on the plan, update the plan with also the comments that we have tonight, but
Okay, and Matt needs to draft order of conditions. So is this something where we should continue it to the 24th? Or, okay. So can I have a motion to continue the public hearing till April 24th?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, Marilyn? Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, okay, so, Moving on to our next agenda item, an order of conditions extension request for Grace Community Church.
I'm going to try and dial in the wetland consultant who is in Washington DC.
Matt, do you want to sell right there?
Hi Tom, it's Matt Salem with the Town of Westford Conservation Department. You're on conference call. We just got to the extension request.
Okay, excellent. All right, let me just step out of a noisy restaurant. Okay, thank you for letting me call in. I'm not sure how much presentation you need from me. You know, we made a request before the expiration of the permit, and then, you know, when never really pushed it coming to the commission because the COVID extension seems like there was plenty of time, and then, you know, thankfully we had made that verbal request, which technically does meet the Wetland Protection Act and bylaw regulations, which don't require it to be in writing. So we just would like to ask the commission to vote an extension. You know, 2 years is probably enough. If the commission can vote a 3-year, I think that just gives us plenty of time to get all the mitigation work done and the plant's, you know, doing well.
So just for a bit of background, this is the Grace Community Church out behind, opposite the Emerson Hospital. The order of conditions was issued in late 2019. It benefited from the COVID tolling, COVID state of emergency tolling for 462 days. And in Mr. Hughes's email, they did stop in. I think it was February or March 2022. They'd come in seeking an extension prior to its expiration, but with the COVID tolling, I said, "Oh, you don't need that," and now here we are, where the project. I've stopped out to the project fairly regularly. Everything's the erosion controls are, you know, in good working order. The project site's clean and, you know, being professionally managed, and I would not be opposed to the granting the extension. Again, the site.
For 2 years.
For even 3, you know, what's the commission's, you know, can be up to 3 years. So at the commission's discretion, I'd be open to either.
So what is the expiration date that we're extending? So what's the current date?
The current, it expired January 2nd, 2024.
Okay.
And so
January 2nd, 2026 or 27, depending on
correct,
whether we do the 2 years or the 3 years.
They did come in, you know, as stated, they did come in, you know, early 2022, prior to, you know, to seeking an extension, but thought we had more time.
Yeah, I'd be willing to give them
I would say 3,
and
yeah,
I
3.
think you've been a good partner, so I'd be willing to go a 3-year extension.
And I think that saves us any complications down the road.
Yeah, you know, and it's, you know, in terms of, you know, stabilizing the site immediately, and then in order to file a new notice of intent for a partially done project, I think this is, you know, it's, again, haven't had any complaints, and I've, you know, been both the project team and, you know, their environmental consultant have been very responsive to any inquiry, and you know, certainly would recommend.
Can I have a motion to extend the order of conditions expiration date to January 2nd, 2027? Can I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor? Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Anne?
Yes,
Noel?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. so we are all set.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you
Very
so
much.
much.
We appreciate it.
Very well.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
Tom.
you, and thanks again for your accommodation for letting me call in from down at DC. Take care.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Okay, moving on. Let him hang up.
Yeah, Annie, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still there.
Good.
Okay,
All right.
great. Just wanted to make sure.
A miracle, a technological miracle.
Okay, so moving on to our next agenda item, it's an order of conditions under the Westford non-zoning wetland bylaw extension request for Summer Village Condominium Associates.
Hi, good evening. My name's Maureen Harold from Norris Environmental Services here on behalf of Summer Village. We are requesting a 3-year extension under the local order of conditions. Full transparency, the state superseding order of conditions has expired. Kind of a similar situation as the last hearing that you just heard. The permit was issued in 2020, but it was after the March 20th date, so the association was under the assumption that they had the COVID tolling, but unfortunately they did not. They made attempts to request an extension for the superseding order, and DEP informed them, you're out of luck. So we'll have to come back to the commission with a notice of intent under the Wetland Protection Act if the commission decides to extend the local order.
Okay, so if we extend the local order that allows work that was jurisdictional, all work, or just what was jurisdictional under the local bylaw?
All, well, it would be work under all, within all jurisdictional areas to the local bylaw, which is everything in the States Act plus the buffers to bank, land under, water body, 100-year floodplain.
Okay, so it allows you, so is this work that's already started or work that you're now looking to start?
So some of the work has been completed. If I had to give you a percentage, I would say 30 to 40% of the work's been completed. They would like to complete the rest of it. I know another outstanding issue that they want to get resolved with the commission is the conservation restriction. So that's also.
Yeah, the land swap for
land
people who
swap.
weren't on the commission at the time.
Right.
We're adjusting, we're taking some of the land out of the conservation restriction and adding about 150% more.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2x, but
Okay,
so
1.5 to 2.
I don't have, so I'm in the middle of trying to figure out that mess.
Okay.
But we are trying to get that put together as well, get the conservation restriction amended, recorded, and get that
Get that
resolved.
additional land under.
Right.
Okay. So, can I have a motion? Well, first of all, are there any questions? No questions?
I'm in favor of this. Again, I was hoping DEP would, again, the appeal of the local bylaw at Superior Court, not judgment, agreement, judgment, I forget what the actual term was, where all parties, that is dated April 7th, 2021. So 3 years from that date, as the last date of appeal, is, before the commission's next meeting. So that's kind of why we're here doing this, and
So we
prior
want
to a new notice of intent being filed.
So we want to extend it to April 7th, 2026 or 27? You want to do a 2-year or a 3-year?
Whatever I can take, I will be happy. Whatever the commission feels.
I would recommend a 3, just so that at bare minimum, the expiration years are consistent with whatever new notice of intent is, or order of conditions is issued under the act, just so it's, everything's in 27, and hopefully we can
And
not. everything, A, will be done, but B, if, in the event.
Okay.
So, and just for my information, we can, this is a 3-year extension, but there's, when we reach the end of the 3-year extension, it cannot be, can it be extended further, or
Yes.
at that? Okay, so it can be extended further, but this, okay, so this,
Should be enough time.
it gets us out there, and yeah, I like your logic of everything happening in and a new notice of intent, whatever is issued expires in 27.
Everything's in 27, so we're not.
So could I have a motion to extend the order conditions under the local bylaw expiration date to April 7th, 2027?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Anne?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. So we're all set there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay.
Is Jim here for,
Freedom Park, I'm assuming.
Yes. Okay.
why don't we take him,
Pleasant Street too, so I'm still.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
take him out
So
of
that's what
order.
brought you the first time?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna sign away, Matt, if you wanna.
Yeah, so we can take Freedom Park improvements out of order. The basketball hoop is currently residing at the highway department.
Yay.
Yep, they were very accommodating to get on that and remove it. Working to coordinate just a time with the fence company. It's just me. There's a lot of, I'm getting pulled in a bunch of different directions. So I'm having difficulties coordinating that, but we'll
Okay.
coordinating just with my own schedule.
With the highway department, did we also wanna reach out to them to get the boulders in place to delineate?
That's, yeah.
Okay.
We need to make sure we have some good sized boulders to locate, but I'm sure they'll,
Okay.
there's enough digging going on around town, we can find a.
Well, and I'm thinking with vegetation starting to grow, we wanna clearly delineate where should be mowed regularly versus where, you know, the line of boulders from there to the edge of the pond, you know, that we want naturalized, and we just need that boulder so they know where to mow and where not to mow.
Yep.
Okay, and, okay, so,
And in terms of, I was able to find a Google Street View from November 2012 of the Abbott Mill property across the street from Pond Street. And there is a doggy waste station, receptacle thing that's been there for 11 years now. So, I'm not saying it's not them, but there's at least some,
So they are
there are
provide-
accommodations being provided. So, if we want to pursue, closing, I've scheduled a time with the animal control officer to get her input as to kind of the process for kind of turning into no dogs allowed, to prohibiting the dogs. But that's the, I just thought this was, as I was stopping out to look at the basketball hoop after the last meeting, I did notice that, and going back in the Google Wayback Machine, 2012.
Are there bags in there?
yes, cause I drove past it and you can see the little bags hanging down that somebody walking out to go
So-
take their dog for a walk and grab a bag and come back in and.
do
toss
we
it
know
in
how
the
that
bin.
got there?
Hmm?
How that got there?
I would
It's-
imagine it's a amenity of the, so, but it's something to, that.
It's
it was
good.
A point of
Good.
discussion at the last meeting,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah, because there's a large swath of lawn here on the Abbott Mill property, so I
think it might have come from the mill.
well, it's they're installed and probably maintained by the mill owner, just so that his landscaping crew isn't having to deal with
Dog poop.
dog poop.
Okay.
So, but yes,
Okay, that's a good thing.
okay, so you're still connecting with
the fence
the
company.
fence
yeah.
company, you're connecting with the dog officer to find out,
What's the steps in the event the commission wants to prohibit dogs there? The town manager, I started with the town manager, and she recommended going to the animal control officer. And prior to going to town council.
Okay.
Okay, and with the stockade fence that's actually on the park's property, one of the things we were thinking about was reaching out to the owner of 9 Pond Street, that if in fact they want stockade fence to give them privacy on their backyard, they need to be installing it on their own property?
Yes, and I have not reached out with them.
Okay, and you'd want to do that verbally rather than sending an email or a letter?
I can send an email.
Okay, yeah, because I think, just
kind of
get them moving ahead, that if theoretically they would want that.
Right. The commission would likely put in a 4-foot chain link fence if they want to,
Well, we had also talked with them about where there is existing chain link fence, putting in shrubs, et cetera, to provide screening, but not something that would grow more than 6 feet tall so that they don't lose their view of the pond.
Right.
But if they want more screening for their immediate privacy, stockade fence needs to be installed on their property. And then that allows us to get rid of the stockade on the park's property that keeps falling down.
We haven't heard from anybody though, right?
Well, we've started this discussion.
Okay.
We need
okay.
to communicate to the property owner.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that we need to,
Make that connection.
make that connection, make that,
Okay. Slow, but it's happening.
it's slow, it's happening. And then Noel,
Right, I reached out to I don't think the email is here, but I reached out to the scout troop about those 5 things. The benches, the platform, the bricks under the benches, the pavers, the
so
weeds.
connecting the paver patio, having a spur coming off of it to go to the pavement that leads up to the dock,
Right,
so that people can navigate that safely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think the weeds was another one, then
Yes.
invasive weeds. There were 5 things on that list.
Yeah. Did we also talk because when we were talking about planting shrubs in front of the chain link fence at the back of 9 Pond Street, did we also mention having them?
We have not,
Okay,
because we're not sure, if
Okay.
there's no dogs gonna be allowed anyway, or, I think another concern was the basketball.
no, but this would be, between the back of 9 Pond Street and the park
Okay,
is, well, and actually, so if they're putting there was originally an intent to put shrubs there. I think they were amenable, but that was part of the original plan. So that may be something that we look at doing as well, and that may be easier to respond to than laying bricks, is just digging holes and putting plants in.
sure.
Were they
Yeah.
responsive?
They said they're gonna talk about this and get back to us.
Yeah.
The meeting's, I think, the first Monday of the month, so there might be one coming up.
Okay. My brain is telling me there was something else. Oh, yes. So, yes, that pulling the invasive plants from along the pond edge, getting that
Right.
bittersweet out. And then, Matt, we would just throw down a seed mix.
Can you tell Jim what happens? If they're willing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of
I have his
having to wait
number,
for a
too.
meeting, I said maybe he could tell you that he met with them and they're in agreement.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
I also, we spoke after the meeting, I'm certainly willing to help with the process.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect,
Yeah.
perfect.
And
So you're already connected. I don't have to worry
and
about
no,
it.
you can count on me to be there helping
Okay.
pull
Certainly
bittersweet
provide materials for those benches, like I said, those slabs.
out of the
That could be-
buffer.
Okay.
Yeah, I like getting rid of that
Provide
And the
stuff.
last one was signs, putting up signs.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Oh,
yeah, provide materials.
actually, the signs I think was gonna be DPW.
Then that's fine, we
Yeah,
knock
I mean,
off the
but
list.
I need to, I think I need to get it to him.
Okay.
Find
I
it.
thought it was behind your chair.
I thought so too. I don't know.
Okay. But
I'll
anyway,
find them.
Signs have been ordered.
They have to be
Okay,
there.
that's fine.
They have to
And
be
we're gonna
there.
have yeah, because the signs deal with identifying what are prohibited activities, like no grilling, no consumption of alcohol, things like that. That needs to be posted so that then if somebody in the neighborhood notices somebody doing prohibited activities, they can call the police non-emergency line, and the police can respond an officer to you know, to basically deal with the person doing the prohibited activity so that the residents don't feel like it's their, you know, that they are in any way expected to tell people what they're not allowed to do. That,
The message will get out. If that starts to
Yeah.
happen, the message will get out.
but that also gives the neighbors a way to contact the police and have the police come down and, for example, issue a citation or whatever.
Or stop the activity.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
Would the fence be constructed on conservation property?
no, if they want to put up if they want the stockade fence, the owner at 9 Pond Street would put it on their property.
They would have to
Yes.
fence up themselves and pay for it themselves.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that it becomes, because it's there for their privacy, it becomes their responsibility, and it becomes their choice what the fence looks like, how long it extends and stuff like that.
And it's still not 100% certain whose property that fence actually is on. Was it Murray Printing that done that, or on their property, or?
Well, there's about it, so from what Alice told us the last time,
Yeah.
it looks like all the chain link fence was originally from the Murray because it enclosed their parking area.
Their parking, was their parking.
But when we look at where the stockade is physically located, it is about 2 feet into the park from where that chain link fence was.
Yeah.
So that, yeah, it kind of leads to a conclusion. Okay,
Okay, moving on.
okay. Did you have any other?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
So,
Back to Stony
To the
Brook.
top of the list.
Yes, Stony,
Where are you? Summer
the,
Village or?
back to the Stony Brook Conservation Area, user concern follow-up. I'll have a job description that will be advertised, for the commission's next meeting. And the DPW director is still interested in paving the entrance to the Stony Brook Conservation Area, as the town clerk's office received a phone call from somebody who got stuck in a pothole or something.
Yeah, they're stuck in the ruts, but
In
they
the
didn't
right,
give me
right,
their
yeah,
name
and so,
they didn't give me a
and
phone
so,
number.
you know, it's certainly something to,
She had a pay
I've received,
pulled out.
I've received enough phone calls over the last year and a half from residents, visitors, the lessees of the camps, discussing kind of the state of that road, and, the maintenance in its current state is getting to be greater than what can be, done regularly by the Department of Public Works. And so, they're proposing to pave the entryway. And I'll have, and hopefully for, any special meeting in that second week of April, I'd like to have information from the Director of Department of Public Works, if not, have him available to kind of discuss with the commission about his thoughts for kind of improving that to reduce.
Usable.
Yeah, right, to reduce the maintenance, but also, make it,
And eliminate the problem.
yeah. So that's on
Put
my,
in some
It'll
speed
increase the
bumps.
speeding.
I was just gonna say.
Well, no,
We'll
well,
deal with that one after.
Guarantee it will.
We
But- might be able to
but
put
in the
in some
meantime,
speed
we can't
bumps.
have people getting
well,
stuck.
but some of this
What
is
did you
also,
say?
Speed bumps.
but also,
Another thought.
But also, this is talking about not just the road that goes through the woods, but this is also talking about that really potholy stretch from
Yeah,
where
that's
you
what I
leave
mean.
Depot to before you go into the woods. And so some of it is, we're talking.
Town land? That's town land?
Well, it's,
yeah, most of it is,
Yeah, that
most
helps
if not
us.
all
That
of it
helps
is
us.
town land.
yeah, but it just, yes.
We can
so there,
piggyback on the town.
there are two very, there's two very, people, you say road, people think the stretch going through the woods, but there's also that big chunk along the train
left,
tracks.
yeah.
Part, that's the bad part.
That's the bad part. So, yeah, I think, my only question would be, would we, while it would be great if we had the information to review in that remote meeting the second week of April, is it the kind of thing where we would also want to talk about it in a public meeting where members of
Yeah, I mean, I think just having it presented, I wouldn't want the commission to, take any vote, at that special meeting, but just, again, in
It's a
in the best
proactive piece.
interest of the DPW director's time, if this can be done virtually or as opposed to having him stay.
Okay, so just like you went on the phone there, we
Yeah,
could do a
exactly.
short piece.
Yeah, and so that way he can also, he can share information, he can get comments and questions back.
Right.
Okay,
And we've been responsive, so.
okay.
Edwards Woods, I don't have. I have an email drafted to the police department asking for information, but I never sent it because it's just another.
Excuse me.
The Summer Village Conservation Restriction Amendment, as Maureen mentioned, they are willing and, more just my time to get them what was amended, the amended language for them to review before pursuing further, and getting the state to, review it as well. The conservation restriction, vegetation cutting at the Jarvis Hill Estates, I don't have an update.
Okay.
You need to talk to the
Yeah,
officer.
I need to talk to the officer, I need to talk to the property owner, or the trustee of the Jarvis Neighborhood Association. And for the day agricultural and conservation land, I did receive the payment for the 2023 growing season.
Thought that was all over and done with.
And they said that their correspondence to me said that they were unable to at the time get a soil sample as the field was frozen. I expressed my dismay that this hasn't been a regular part of the thing, and that is, it waited until emails and so if the commission wants to not pursue extending it, I
Well,
can.
what do we do with it anyway if you don't?
Wouldn't Farmer Dave go in there?
I don't know.
Say again?
Potentially Farmer Dave might go in there and plant a couple crops.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
Did he ask
yeah,
to do that?
No,
Okay.
what we would need to do is if we don't have a farmer in
Then
place
we'd
for
have
this
to-
year, we need,
To open it up,
we need
advertise?
to
Cover
have
crop at
some
least.
type of a cover crop, so we're not looking at weed paradise.
Got it.
But it would also, if in fact we're deciding to walk away from do we have the ability to walk away from the farmer is able to say, yes, I would like to continue. Are we able to say, we're not interested in continuing?
We can say no.
I would like to review the
Language.
the language and also run that by town council just
Okay,
to
because I think,
verify if that's the sentiment of the commission. That's a question I hadn't thought of, or
Well,
I'll
yeah.
get an answer for that one.
yeah, because I think, come the April 24th meeting, if that's the direction we go, we want to have everything ready to start saying, okay, what do we do next?
There's also the organization that Bob Wiskevich is working with, that the food pantry people, they come in and they're doing over at the Bob's Garden over at Good Pickin'. They come in and they do all of the work and they donate all of the food. They usually do one crop, which is like butternut squash or something that has a long shelf life, and
It's gonna be very exciting.
Yeah. One of the things would be, they would have to, in terms of all the criteria we put in terms of, I think everything has to be organic, all the criteria about water use, and is there's a second level of detail about what an organization farming this parcel, what they're expected to do, what they're able to do, and what the constraints are.
And if
So
they're
I-
willing, you don't know.
Yeah, that becomes an option. So,
I'm not clear, did she not want the property?
No, she has expressed interest in continuing the lease,
She hasn't followed
but
what
we've
she needs to do.
yes.
well, she
Thank you. I got
hasn't,
it. Okay, I got it.
she hasn't followed what she was supposed to do on her initial 5-year lease, which is the soil sample.
So we
So-
should
so-
give her a short window.
Right, and that's why in my response to, them saying, oh, well, the ground was frozen, I'm like, well,
You shouldn't have waited that long.
You should have been, it was supposed to be done last fall.
It's supposed to be done the year before that too.
Well, yes.
And so,
Yeah.
I've,
But, and some of it is, can we, with some of this, because we have to go through the RFP process to make it available.
yes.
So, so that would be one of the other, depending on what direction we take at the 24th meeting, we may be
Yeah, I mean, but
needing
that
to
can also,
restart that.
I would also, I would probably want to talk with the new assistant town manager and town council about what,
How you do this.
yeah, I mean, especially, in terms of the group that's, associated with, doing work at Good Pickings. How is, what type of lease do you, or rent, use agreement do you need and
It's
how?
not good pickings, though.
No, I mean, but at that
Yeah.
farm,
Location, yeah.
at the property of,
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah, okay, so,
That's worth the money.
well, that's, no, 'cause, well, and that becomes the thing is because at, day, they pay us, what is it going to be?
But legal can give us a whole,
Right, if
Yes.
we can,
and tell us how to proceed.
Yes,
I can,
So we'll be kosher.
okay.
We'll be able to extend
Can you tell me again
community
what-
garden to that area?
What?
if
To add
they
more plots?
wanted to, again, that's
That's
the it was being leased before, how that goes.
No, because the community garden I thought was in place first.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Or
No.
maybe they went.
Mike Gagnon was there a while back.
Yeah, I don't, again,
Okay.
in terms of, and I know the community garden has expanded over time as well, they've, gotten more land, so, I'm also aware that, I'm sure they would want more if possible.
I don't know if
That's another opportunity to, kind of further expand the community garden, if they're,
And maybe it's time for a report from them. Here, from Community Garden.
I can ask, I mean, they've reached out, they've had a couple, there was correspondence Monday? Yes, Monday, from one of their members they were looking to kind of ask to do some stuff, and so that was going to be, again, one of those items on the kind of, on a special first half of April meeting where it's, it's not, no notifications required, no public hearing, all that kind of stuff. It can be a discussion of, oh, okay, that makes sense, we agree, or,
So we're gonna invite them to the.
yeah, that was my intent, was to make it worthwhile for everybody's time, but, I don't know,
But it's
45
good to get a
minutes as
report
opposed
on
to-
it in
Right,
Summerland.
yeah.
It's good to get a report.
Certainly can ask for
That keeps everybody
Yeah,
accountable as well.
because one of the things that they're talking about is.
The
yeah,
cover for
the-
the.
The cover for the sunshade, but also the fabric for the garden paths, and when he was
Still there.
talking about, using landscaping factor, it's kind of like, okay, how does that affect their rototilling of the gardens, or do they not rototill those paths?
I think they're more concerned about, so there's still fabric in the trees
Right, no.
This is within the garden,
within the community garden?
yes.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah,
they,
so he asked to put down, landscape fabric in the,
In
where
the
path-
aisles,
yeah,
yeah.
in the aisles. And Margaret's point was, how is that going to affect rototilling,
Yeah, they'd have to take it all up and.
right,
That's
right,
nuts.
and so that's kind of the, the questions.
thought
I also
through.
think they have to be accountable to us. So I think coming here periodically is a good
Yeah,
thing.
I'm sure they'd be
They remember
welcome to-
from whence they got us.
Yep.
That's my personal opinion.
Okay.
I can certainly invite them, and again, we
Why
have.
did you tell us we couldn't have another meeting? What was happening on the 10th? What's the holiday?
The last
Eid
day
al
around.
Fitr, it was the
What?
first thing on the
It's
list.
the last day of Ramadan where they.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know what I didn't pay
Yeah.
attention. Okay, thank you.
What about that? Well, I didn't think to ask earlier, but the enforcement order for 66 Boston?
I
For what? I couldn't hear you.
66 Boston Road. As
Agricultural
in,
restrictions?
no, not the agricultural restriction. I mean, more so somebody doing an activity altering land within 100 feet of a wetland resource. And again, I don't know, there's where the actual 100-foot buffer is. I've spoken with the owner. He in our discussion, he said he hired Norse Environmental to do the notice of intent. And the commission's next filing, the filing deadline for the April 24th, thank you. I was like, I don't remember which one it is. 27th, oh, that's today. The April 24th meeting is next Wednesday. So, it's kind of, okay, if something.
Do we know what it is he wants to do there?
Other
than what he announced at a meeting?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
Alteration of, there may be alteration of land within 100 feet of a jurisdictional wetland resource, but the plan I have is from 2017, and I don't have any real hard number. I don't have a hard or a good sense where that 100-foot buffer is in, on the property. So I can't say where exactly something is happening.
Can we hire someone to do that for us?
I think if
Be worth our while
if
to-
something is being filed, I'd like to see. I don't know how. I can certainly think about how to pursue that.
Again, I would talk to council.
Yeah. Again, there.
Okay. It's just a safeguard.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other business? Not?
Just the site visit from 426 Littleton will discuss and record when they next continue the public hearing, but I didn't want to forget.
Didn't we do that?
No, we announced who was there, but because the
Okay.
public hearing was continued.
Oh, because the public, so we all need to save our recollections, observations, and comments for the 426 Littleton
Is that
Road
the
site
tires?
visit till the public hearing on the April 24th.
It was very wet.
Yes.
Yes.
So.
A lot
Okay.
of water.
So, if there's no other business, could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor, Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Anne?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes.